So when I was younger, a big thing that helped kind of shape my identity and like form like my identity was like not only music but like the wanting to be, in my eyes, morally just, and like be okay with being completely happy with who I was and the choices that I was making. So I decided when I was around like 17 or 18 that I was going to become straight edge. And what that means is like you don't partake in any sort of like drugs, like alcohol, weed, any sort of like pills or anything like that, and like you abstain from having like anonymous sex and other kind of just sort of vices that people have. Just because I didn't want to be limited to anything. I didn't want to be like restrained by anything. I didn't want to have any sort of like crutch that could prevent me from doing what I thought was right or what I really wanted to do. And then also through that, like through like being like morally like just, I wanted to also think about like my sort of like impact on the planet. So around that same time I also like made the transition to become a vegan. And before that, for a year I wasn't eating meat from factory farms, and then I just decided I should just cut all of it out. And that was just so I could just have the peace of mind knowing that like I wasn't hurting the environment and other people, and that I could completely be okay with myself and my own decisions because I made them and not some other sort of thing made them for me.
Hmm.
When I was an adolescent, I struggled with my sexuality as well as with religion and how those two fit together. Typically with religion, they don't accept being gay, and I was starting to discover that's who I was, and I couldn't change that. And I had multiple crises trying to find the right religion for me. I grew up with my family being very Catholic and my mother being very Christian. So I sought to find a religion that gave me answers as to why it was wrong, if I needed to change, or if maybe religion itself was something that was wrong. And I hopped from different religions, went to churches, synagogues, temples, Catholic, Christian, even Jehovah's Witness. I read Bibles, magazines, and genuinely tried to get answers. And in the end, they could never give me a solid reason as to why it was wrong. So I struggled, and I felt like I didn't know where I fit, and religion is something that you really need. It's your security blanket. And as an adolescent, I felt like that was a big part of my family as well. You always preyed on that, whatever was wrong and bothering you. And it wasn't until I found Buddhism that they said they did not mind as long as you were the best you could be, and that you helped your community and you were doing the best you could be for your health and not hurting anybody.
From my adolescence, I can recall the reemergence of egocentrism. I thought that my parents didn't understand what I was feeling. Everything I felt was so profound. My feelings of friendship and identity, and like I was so unique, and the world revolved around me. I kind of grew up in like the MySpace generation when social media was first becoming present. And I think that kind of triggered a lot of us at that time to have this egocentrism. I mean, it was high to the point where if I was walking down the street home from school, I thought that every single car was looking at me, what I was wearing, judging or even just watching me. So during my adolescence, I definitely experienced egocentrism.